On this week's edition of the Fatside Footy podcast, we'll run you through what was a massive round 14 of AFL footy, and we say goodbye finally to the bye rounds, and we get back into the nitty-gritty in the second half of the AFL season. Bobby, you're ready, aren't you?
Ready to roll, mate.
Woo! Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another edition of the Fat Side. As always, I'm joined by my great mate here, Bobby. Bobby, how are you, mate?
Mate, I'm fantastic. I did miss you last week, though.
Yes. Well, I had no voice. Sounded like Terry Wallace after 5 bags of darts in the one sitting, and sounded like Plough.
Yeah, you did sound a little bit rough, mate. Look, I got a lot of feedback about the pod last week. Apparently people loved it, so it doesn't bode well for you.
Yeah, well, they didn't hear my annoying, whingy voice the whole time being a Western Bulldogs supporter, but we'll probably touch on that later on.
Yeah, look, first of all, let's kick it off with the results. Well, on Thursday night, to set off the last round of buys for the year, West Coast toppled the Dons, 106-71. They were about as accurate as a post-shag piss in the dark, but the sheer volume was enough to bury the hapless Bombers. Kennedy kicked 4 points, then he ended up finishing with 3 goals, 5. Dom sheeted an absolute perler from the boundary line to go with 36 touches. Yo was pretty great on his return. For the Dons, 3 goals to young Fridge Begley. He was sensational. Heppel and Merritt led the possessions. Then Friday night saw the Swannies get up over the Hawks. Parker was enormous. 31 touches, 12 tackles, and a goal. The big bad Budweiser, he had 4 goals. Then he pulled a string. Brewed up some controversy too, that string, about the runners and their restrictions. The Hawkers, they can officially kiss their season goodbye. Interestingly, they fielded the oldest team of the round on the weekend. And the old dinosaur Ruffy, he returned and was probably one of their best players as well. He was actually sensational, used his experience, showed some value, as did Liam Shields, 25 touches, 6 clearances and 11 tackles. Then the Melbourne Football Club. They're alive, apparently. The useless pricks decided to show up and ruin multis across the country.
You filthy animal.
They didn't lead at any change, but they were in front when the final siren sounded to win by 14 points. Fremantle and sunny Scottish Kiss Walters couldn't mount another fourth quarter thriller, unfortunately. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. Scottish Kiss
His
Walters.
His nickname just keeps building.
Sean Darcy, he actually had the better of Maxi for about the first half of the game. I don't know if you watched it. Then Maxi went bang in the fourth. It was incredible.
Did Max arrive at half-time?
He did. He very much did. He was pivotal to the win as well. But that said,
there's only one name you can reel off right now.
Tom McDonald, he really showed his potential. This is what D supporters think he's capable of. 28 touches, 3 goals, 2, and a huge mark and goal with about 8 minutes to go when scores were tight. Freo really struggled to defend through the guts. They allowed 68 inside 50s for the day. Then we moved on. The Brizzy Lions decided they'd break a 10-year club record with a 67-point third quarter during their demolition of the St Kilda Witches Hats by 56 points. Not much to write home about for the Saints except Dan Hanbury into the side. He was pretty impressive in their best with 27. For the Lions, Charlie Cameron grabbed a fistful of schnags. 3 in the first, 2 in 2 minutes in the third quarter, but then he had to sit down for a while. Brizzy had a lot of quality players, but I really loved Hugh McCluggage's game. 22 touches, 2 goals, 1.
Yep.
And Big O, Oscar McInerney.
Oh, the Big O.
He had 6 contested marks, I think all in the first half. He was on track to hit the 10 to break the record, but he cooled off completely in the second half.
Yeah.
Moving on, the mighty can fall. Port Adelaide beat Geelong 67-56. And they beat them at their own game, to be fair.
That is the biggest 11 points, yeah?
Yeah.
It was an 11-point dismantling
It really
of the Geelong
was.
Footy Club.
It felt like that. It was tough, solid stuff, high work rate effort for 4 quarters from Port. Big games to Robbie Gray, 31 touches and 2 goals.
Awesome.
Rosie was really impressive with just 2 goals. Dersma, he is bloody fit for an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Lysette, he looks like Guile from Street Fighter, but he ripped that game apart. Absolutely went berserk. Now, Ken Hinkley obviously swung the axe during the week. He axed every 200 gamer who can't find the weight room. Ryder and Westhoff missed the game, but Port were none the worse off without all that experience.
Well, better off. I think throwing the axe really put everyone on notice. And yeah, they really pulled together and went as hard as they could.
Pretty big effort from Danger.
Awesome.
27, a clutch goal. Duncan had 35, ran at 80% efficiency as well. Tui and Stewart were pretty busy in defence, but around the fringes, not much to write home about, unfortunately. All right, and then finally, Sunday gave us what personally I think was the game of the round. Collingwood narrowly beat your boys by 9 points at Marvel. The Dogs definitely came to play. You've got to be proud of that. They won the inside 50s, 59-44.
Yeah.
But that style that worked for you for 3.5 quarters became your undoing in the end when the game needed to be won. Short angle kicks carried on a little bit too long. The Pies held on. For the Pies, the man mountain Brodie Grundy, he was absolutely unstoppable. Has never been done before. The stat line, 50 hitouts, 25 touches and 2 goals. Huge game. Darcy Moore was very good as well. Sidebottom and Ben Reid all had solid games. But Bucks has said that was their worst effort for a long time.
Yeah.
You cannot be serious!
Poor wife must cop it for her work around the house with that severe grading system.
Yeah.
The young fella Tim English did well not to try and bury himself 6 feet deep in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
He would have wanted to find a hole to crawl into right then and there.
Yeah.
Caleb Daniel, sensational. Another 35 touches. McRae, 42.
Yeah.
Back to his prolific best. And Lipinski.
Yeah, I love him.
Stepped all the way up, had 32 touches, a goal. Does that spell a little bit of a doomsday for Toby McLean?
Yeah. I dare say it could.
Like, he got dropped, and then, like, where's his role now?
Well, doomsday at the Western Bulldogs before irresponsible club like St Kilda throw $3 million at him, but
right after he does an ankle. Yeah. No, look, Toby McLean has that high half forward midfield, sort of thrust in there.
Yeah.
That a young kid who spent time in the VFL got given the reins for 1 week and had 32 and a goal.
Yeah.
Which was what McLean was doing a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And has failed to do all year.
Yeah, correct. Little Sam Lloyd provides a really good contest, and he's been a really good pickup for us. You know, he's not a player that you sit here and write home about, but he's become a really reliable veteran sort of leader down in the forward line and provides a contest at every opportunity.
I don't think Richmond would have got rid of him if he played footy like this at Richmond.
Nah, no way.
There would have been probably no Jack Higgins in the team and Sam Lloyd instead.
Yep.
I know that you like him.
Yeah.
He lacks the class to... What do you have, 3 goals too?
Yeah.
Yeah, he really... Some of those ones that he missed, he
They
could have had them.
Should have
A quality player would have gobbled them up.
Absolutely, yeah. But look, I've been pretty pleased with his output.
Yep, good recruit. Well, those are all the games of the round. That leads us into the votes.
Here we go!
All right, Jackie boy. Well, you've had a week off, so you've got no excuse for not being prepared this week. Who have you got in the votes for me?
Alrighty, a little bit of bias here. Got to go with my main man in the Doggies midfield, Jack McRae. Really impressive. 41 disposals at 76% efficiency, 13 tackles as well. Look, he was one of the culprits for that sideways sort of kicking. I will pull him up on that, and some poor decision making at the death of the game as well. Electing to go shallow forward 50 entry instead of deep when the game was still up for grabs. However, he, as you mentioned before, he's back to his prolific best, and that sort of output deserves a vote in my book. So a vote to Jack McRae. Now, 2 votes. It was hard to... I didn't know where to put him, but I'm going to give him 2 votes. Is Lieutenant Scott Lysette.
Nice.
Yeah. Huge game. 24 disposals, 43 hitouts, and 9 clearances. So they're his numbers, but when you're watching him, he was a man possessed.
The
he
presence.
Was absolutely everywhere. Presence, physical, absolutely let Geelong know that he was there to play.
Him and Dixon made Geelong look like boys at stages.
Absolutely. Yep. They were certainly, men amongst boys. It was really impressive. And obviously, as you mentioned before, the axing of senior leaders at the club really made them have to step up and as they're all put on notice by Big Hinkley. My 3 votes. Now, this also was a bit tricky on where to grade them. I'm going to give my 3 votes to Tom McDonald. So, 28 disposals and 3 snags. But as you mentioned, an enormous contested mark in a critical part of the game. And went back and said, watch this, boys, and put it through the big sticks. And, and was a key... I mean, Melbourne aren't winning. As we spoke about it off air, Melbourne aren't winning if Tom McDonald's not on the park.
Agreed.
Yeah, so 3 votes to Tom McDonald. Now, my 4 votes goes to the excitement machine at the Brizzy Lions. It's Charlie Cameron.
Nice.
5 goals, 3 in the first and 2 in 2 minutes in the third. He did end up on the bench, carrying a bit of a niggle, but his highlight reel in 10 years' time is going to be pretty special if he continues this sort of stuff. This is Cyril Rioli, Eddie Betts-esque sort of excitement, and it's what Brisbane have been crying out for a decade. This sort of excitement, and I just love him. I think he plays the right way, and he does amazing things. And obviously, he was an apprentice of one Eddie Betts for a little while, so
that is true.
That bodes well for him as well.
The great marks of one of the small forwards is that other players can play off them, and you can see that Lincoln McCarthy is benefiting.
Yes,
from being next to someone like that.
Absolutely.
And Eddie does that to players too. So I really love what's happening there at Brisbane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nothing but positivity. My 5 votes, it has to go to him. It's Collingwood's massive big boy in the ruck. It's Brodie Grundy.
Mama, there goes that man.
25 disposals, 2 goals, 50 hit-outs, 6 clearances. That is a Goliath performance. And same as Tom McDonald. I've got a feeling if the Dogs could kick straight, but Brodie Grundy's not in the park. I don't know if Collingwood are hanging on to win that game.
Absolutely not.
No. Boy, did he kick a goal at the right when they needed him.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a 25-minute stalemate, I believe, between goals. And Brodie Grundy just went, nah, this is ours. We cannot lose to the Dogs at Marvel. Bang. Great goal. We were talking off air. You've put a cheeky wager on him for the Brownlow.
I did. A couple of weeks ago, I dropped a 50 on him when he was up in price a little bit. He's shortened since then.
Yeah.
I think I told you earlier in the year when he had a game like this.
Yes.
I think it was his 48 touch, 2-goal game or something like that.
48 hit-outs, yeah.
2-goal game. I said, can he win a Brownlow?
Yeah.
And it was at that point I was like, I think it's obvious that he can.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's ever going to slow him down except himself. And that means you're in Brownlow contention if the only thing that stops you week to week is your own mind. So
yeah, and he doesn't have to verse Gorn every week. So
that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, they're my votes, Bobby. Let us into yours, mate. Who you got?
Alrighty. 1 vote this week, Max Gawn.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent. Like I said, he was a bit quiet in the first half. It's really hard if you didn't watch the game to contrast the change.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to you like this. It was one of the biggest Supercoach scores in a quarter.
Yeah.
Enormous. He was on about 65 Supercoach points into the third quarter. He ended up on 150 plus. It was phenomenal. So 46 hit-outs, 20 touches, 1 goal, 2 contested marks, 7 clearances. That's not a long way off Brodie Grundy's stats.
No, it's not.
It's really close, man. And, his goal was pretty important as well. My 2 votes, it goes to the best Demons player on the day. It was Tom McDonald. So, like you said, 3 goals, 2 in the end. The 14 contested out of his 28 touches. I like that. He crashed packs, he ran hard, and he really won the game for his team. They need that sort of stuff if they're going to give their supporters hope. So those games are massive for the Melbourne Footy Club. My 3 votes goes to my boy, Lieutenant Lysette. And in contrast, he wasn't far off Grundy either. It's funny, 3 ruckmen are going to get votes this week. He had 41 hit-outs, 24 touches, 8 inside 50s. And just the big men played like big men to their full potential.
Yeah.
And they couldn't be stopped for the most part. Some of them were playing against subpar opposition, but they all dominated. So I really liked his game. I thought it was fantastic. Like you, my 4 votes goes to Charlie Cameron. Absolutely electric. He ignited that third quarter. That 67-point third quarter was kicked off by him. One of his goals...
How?
A loose ball spilling around, picks it up, gets tackled, spun around, hit the deck, bounces up first, kicks a goal, and the image of him standing there celebrating and 4 St Kilda blokes standing around him going, how?
And they're just looking at each other, in disbelief.
Whose fault was that? It was no one's fault, guys.
Yeah.
He was just way too good.
Yeah.
Too quick, too clean, too everything. It is, like you said, the highlight reel will be phenomenal one day.
Yeah.
So my 5 votes, it goes to Brodie Grundy.
Mama, there goes that man.
Yeah, you've said it all already, so I don't know how much I can add to it. He clearly wins their BNF for me already. You can pretty much lock that in. Because like you said, when you have games like that, Pendlebury's done it once or twice.
Yeah.
But we've literally sat here and gone, Collingwood had another win, but they weren't that impressive. And most of the time, I'm giving him votes when that happens. Because he is the difference.
He'd be pretty high up on our leaderboard.
Well, the leaderboard. And we've had a change.
Ooh. Sir Patrick Cripps has been taken off the mantle?
Well, look, he did have a week off. He has been taken off the mantle. We have a new leader. and it's Brodie Grundy.
There you go.
He's now leading the race on 27 Fatside MVP votes. Patrick Cripps is just behind him on 24. Not a hell of a lot of movement below them, but yeah, those two boys are clearly leading, and that's probably fair enough. They're probably two Brownlow favourites. Trailing them, Lachie Neale, Lachie Whitfield, Paddy Dangerfield, Mickey Walters back from the pack a little bit, and then, yeah, like every week, a bit of a peloton behind that. So yeah, Brodie Grundy should be very proud of himself. He's up the top of our list, so well done, mate.
Absolutely. It's nice seeing all the big ruckmen getting votes and getting amongst it. Brodie Grundy would, he's put off contracts talks as well. Which is a real shame because I wouldn't mind acquiring him right now at the Boston Celtics as we've lost two big men. But anyway, we'll digress. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. It's that time of the week. It's Bobby's famous hot and cold.
All right, every week I give Jacko a couple of temperature-based dilemmas, and he has to rack his brain for the answers. But first...
For Shaki, waits the kick pretty well. It's online. Are you not entertained? Shaki who goes back on the fly to the ball. Are you not entertained? Shaki has put the Dogs in front. Is this not why you were here?
Yes, music to all our ears. That's the Shaki redemption song. I'm singing it. You all should be too. In his return, he had 3 marks for 3 goals.
Yoo! Go Shaq!
The ability for this man to defrost at a moment's notice from the icy coffin. He might have to be, Josh, the Encino man, Shaki, from now on.
Oh, not bad.
I loved it. It was great to see him back.
I'm back, baby!
You guys needed that effort too.
Absolutely.
Needed that effort. You've been crying out for a key forward. He's come back in and he's produced immediately. So I loved it. Well done, Josh Shaki. You won't be in the icy coffin anymore.
Until Adelaide Oval this Saturday.
All right. My running hot. Last week, I gave you Rowan Marshall. Now, they were playing Brisbane, the Saints. He needed to win the hit-outs and the disposals versus Steph Martin. Obviously, Steph Martin shares the ruck responsibilities with the Big O, so the hit-outs was almost a guaranteed. He lost the disposal count for you, unfortunately. That's going to cost you a froth. The second one, Nat Fyfe. I set the line at 34 and 1 goal versus the Ds. Oh, so close. 32 and 1 point. That's frothy numero dos. But... for my running hot this week.
He's heating up. He's on fire.
Jack Macrae.
Hey.
Now, I didn't give him a vote.
Yeah.
But he is back to his prolific best. He had a month of failing to crack 30 touches. An entire month. Since then, he's had 37 and 42 on Sunday, as well as 8 inside 50s after only averaging 4 year to date. He also had 6 goal assists in total the last 2 weeks, after only having 10 in 11 games for the rest of the year.
Wow, that's remarkable.
Yeah, so I want to know, can he do similar damage against the top team in Port? Can he get 35 and 5 inside 50s on the weekend?
Oh, boy. Yes. Yeah, you can. No, I'm you know me. I love him. I absolutely adore the ground he walks on. I love Jack Macrae. Yeah, he'll be feeling really good after the last couple of weeks. And, he can go a bit, not freezing cold, but he can cool off a little bit. But he is Mr. Consistency. He's our sort of midfield general, if you will. Even when our backs are against the wall, he performs. So, I think he can accumulate quite a bit of the footy against Port Adelaide on the weekend.
Yeah, I think he'll use his pace to get away from Ollie Wines.
Yeah.
So he'll probably run a few rings around him.
Yeah.
Now, the second one for my running hot.
He's heating up. He's on fire.
It's Brad Crouch.
Nice.
Now, I kind of intimated this to you a little bit earlier. In the last month, he's averaging 35 touches, 1 goal, 1. He did have 3 goals against the Ds, which pumps that average up a little bit. He's also had 8 clearances and 5 inside 50s. That's his average for the last month.
Gee whiz.
Compared to the rest of the year, he's +6 in disposals. He's doubled his scoring influence. He's up 3 clearances and up 2 inside 50s. So his influence all over has been upped. Can he feature versus Geelong this weekend and get 32 touches and 1 goal?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love the confidence.
Yeah, he will. They won't win. Geelong will get the chocolates, but he'll perform. Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. Alrighty. Now it's time for my running cold. Last week, I gave you Gary Rowan. Now, we can go to a neutral arbiter if you feel like it. This might be a bit contentious, but he failed for me, even though he was concussed and went off in the third. He needed 9 touches, 4 marks and 2 goals. You know, it was towards the end of the third, off concussed. He had 5 touches, 2 marks and no influence on the scoreboard.
Yeah, the red hair's a bit of a illusion at the minute.
He's a mirage of a man
He is,
on the field. All right, well, that'll cost you another froth. However, I have good news for you. The other guy I had for you last week was David Zaharakis. I asked, how's this?
How's this? Listen up right now. This is unbelievable.
25 touches and 9 contested. He had 24 touches and 8 contested.
Yeah, I told you so.
So begrudgingly, that's minus a froth. So you've done pretty well there, Jackie boy.
It's a cakewalk, mate.
Get your hand off it there.
You were on 3. It's +3 minus 1. So you're up to 5 froths for the year, unfortunately.
Do they do Afterpay at Little Inn?
All right, for my running cold this week.
You're as cold as ice.
Jack Nunes. Now, he could easily be dropped this week.
Yep.
He was really somewhere else on the weekend. He had 8 touches and 1 kick.
Oh, dear.
Right, he's an AFL footballer running around sometimes through the middle.
Probably getting tagged by the Big O. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, here's the drop-off.
Yeah.
I did say to you, I might give you a player who's running the coldest that I found so far. From rounds 1 to 6, he averaged 24 touches, over 3 clearances, 9 contested. His last month, 14 touches,
Oh, my. 10 disposal drop-off.
0.75 clearances, and 3 contested.
I don't even...
And more importantly, his time on ground has barely shifted. So a 10 disposal, 3 clearance, 6 contested possession
That's
drop-off.
remarkable.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Saints are in huge trouble.
Yeah, and it's all Alan Richardson's fault, of course.
Well, when
isn't
you
it?
see these drop-offs, you're getting 10 less touches, mate. 3 less clearances. Like, these numbers don't come from nowhere, and it's hard to coach them back into fruition.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, they obviously will respond, considering the criticism they've had. Do you think he can respond along with them? Can he get 19, 2 clearances, and 6 contested on the weekend?
A Sandringham playing at home. Gee, I'm going to say no. That it's a remarkable drop-off. That is red flag sort of stuff. And that certainly deserves a run in the 2s for mine. So
Look, they've got the Tigers, but they do have them at Marvel.
yeah.
So it could be...
Richmond do not like Marvel.
It could be high turnover footy where he might get a bit of the pill, but he's still got to go and get some clearances and some contested footy.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
all right. My second running cold this week.
You're as cold as ice.
It's Jeremy Cameron. Now, hear me out.
No. I'm all ears.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the last 2 weeks, he kicked 1 goal 1 and then he kicked 1 goal.
Yeah.
The 2 weeks before that, 5 goals 2 and 3 goals 2. His disposals have also dropped. He was 17 year to date. He's dropped to 11 on average the last 2 weeks. Marks inside 50 have gone from 4 year to date to 1.5. So he's only had 3 total the last 2 weeks. 0 goal assists as well. So can he respond versus the Bombers? Can he kick 4?
Yes. Against the Bombers, yeah. Oh, gee, I jumped the gun. At home? No, you played them at home in round 1.
No, it's Marvel.
Marvel. Hale Hooker and Hurley. No.
It's tough.
Nah,
Well,
it's tough.
If personally, I'd give him the blanket. I'd give him Paddy Ambrose.
Okay. They kick 10 then. No, I'm just joking. No, I'll say no.
No is the answer.
Yeah.
Now, there's a retrospective one, Titch Edwards. Mm-hmm. So I gave it to him, I think it was just before their bye, and then he was injured, and then they've had their bye. So it was a few weeks ago. He still has been cold. If he's back in the team, he's had a few weeks off, so he should be okay. It does seem like he's likely to be recalled. He needs to get 20 touches, 3 inside 50s, and 300 metres gained versus the Saints. Are you sticking with yes or no?
Yes, because they'll beat the Saints.
Okay, done. Well, that's it for my hot and cold. Now, it's time for Wisdom or Waffle.
You cannot be serious!
I am smart. S-M-R-T.
Alrighty, this is a new segment that Jackie Boy and I have thrown into the mix. What we're going to do is throw some statements at each other. We're going to give a response and then move straight on to the next question. Essentially, this is the difference between Confucius and Kane Corns. Is it sensible and smart, or is it downright dumbassical? So, the first statement I'm going to throw at you, Jackie Boy,
I'm ready.
It came from Sam McClure. Brad Scott is the best fit for the St Kilda coaching job.
No, absolutely not. He arguably would be taking over a somewhat similar to maybe even worse list of footballers, and a 10-year tenure at Arden Street. I can only see it being very similar at St Kilda. I don't see them being successful in the near future, and they need a better coach than Brad Scott. Now, Bobby, I've got one for you. I'm going to reel off a few names, and I want you to give a simple yes or no. It's 4 names. Will they play for Hawthorn in season 2020? Paul Puopolo,
Yes?
Grant Birchall,
No?
Jared Roughhead,
No?
Sean Burgoyne.
Well, I think he'll get to decide that.
Yeah.
That's the odd one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Roughhead's body won't hold up.
Yeah.
Poppy, I think, still has the rig
Yes.
to do it. He's just not doing it.
He's just not in form at all.
I suppose I was answering that more in terms of retirement, but
No, I'm talking like Clarkson's been
Yeah,
very brutal in the past.
Poppy
moving
might
players on.
Yeah, Poppy might move elsewhere.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
might be it for him. They might trade him on. I don't see why not. I mean, he was in my running cult. He failed to kick 2 goals across 2 weeks. He's really struggling, man. They dropped James Cousins.
Yep.
And he went to the VFL and had like 30 something. They've got guys knocking down the door. They've got a lot of room to improve. I dare say they'll go after a piece or 2. Nah, Poppy, I might say he'll get moved on. Roughhead will retire. Birchall will retire. Burgoyne, flip of the coin.
Yeah.
I was actually looking at his stats. They're not that bad. He still
No.
averages like 18 or 19 and does
Just
okay.
his body.
Yeah.
If he can get through this season unscathed, I think he'll play on.
Yeah, me too.
If he
I'll
pulls,
say
if
yes.
he pulls another string or something, then it's questioned.
Good question. All right. My second one. It's another Sam McClure one because I had to listen to a whole...
God, he might be in your icy coffin sometime soon.
Oh, God, he's a flog. He's not... He doesn't appear like he's an asshole.
Yeah. He's not a bald-headed flog, so it's not that rude.
All right. He was talking about St Kilda.
Yeah.
Caller calls up, says, Alan Richardson has never had an elite player under his tutelage. I kind of agreed off the bat.
Yep.
Sam McClure decided he'd start listing off the A graders at St Kilda. He said Jack Stephen, arguable. I don't think so, but whatever. Then the second name he said, is Jake Carlisle an A grader?
No. No.
That is
Goodness gracious,
blasphemous.
no. Could be,
Totally blasphemous.
but
How
yeah, no,
blasphemous.
that's ridiculous. Yeah.
All right, hit me.
That's ridiculous. All right. Nick Nat to return this week for the West Coast Eagles after one outing in the Waffle. Is it too soon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll want to maintain a top 4 spot.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so I can see it from their perspective. They're in the position to know best. It's a tough one. It's such a long road to recovery. He would have trained so much. But one match? I guess if they play 2 ruckmen, that there'll just be some limited minutes there and maybe he'll have some impact and they're hoping that he can maybe go and rest forward and kick a snag or something like that. But yeah, too early for me. I would have given him one more week, especially since they've got the Hawks at the G.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made him travel.
Yeah, no travel
it's a
necessary.
bit silly. So yeah, too early for me.
Nice big Optus Stadium return would be fitting.
All right, next question is from me to you. Are you filthy that Jordan Roughhead left, and is it all Bevo's fault?
I am... Look, 12 months ago, I understand the move. But now, it's as clear as day that Beveridge wasn't playing him correctly. Which led to, obviously, his desire to look elsewhere to play and find a better fit. And obviously, he was unhappy at the end of his Bulldogs career. Is Luke Beveridge responsible? Yeah, he's the coach. And he wasn't utilising him correctly, and Nathan Buckley's slotted him down back, and he's been an absolute solid rock for them.
Yeah, it happens with those big utilities. It's hard to find the right home for them sometimes. Yeah. So I heard we did the same thing with Josh Jenkins.
Yes.
Bombers gave him up for nothing, went to Adelaide, looked like a gun forward.
Yeah.
I heard Alex Keith was apparently one of the best young forwards
Yeah.
Someone said that he was the best forward that he'd ever played on in all of his juniors, and look at him as a potentially all-Australian defender.
Yeah.
If you play him in the right spot, they're a gem.
So, look, everyone who knows me, I love Luke Beveridge. He's done wonders for our club. But, questionable decisions there. Bobby, does Brad Scott honestly deserve a second opportunity as a head coach?
Yes.
Okay.
However, it can't be at one of these clubs that's trying to build.
Yeah.
I can see that, okay, he did get them to 2 prelims. He did do something with a list that I don't rate.
Yeah.
I don't think was very good. I think was massively overrated. I actually think he was pretty weak. He was pretty quick to give up the ghost when he decided that he wouldn't be the one to lead them back from, I don't know, not even the wilderness. What are they, 12th?
I haven't seen them since 1999, so... No, I'm joking.
No, I think if he got given... Okay, put it this way. If Longmire left, I would actually prefer him going to a club like Sydney.
Brad Scott.
Than going to a club like Carlton.
Yep.
A sort of more established team. That might sound absolutely cocoa bananas, but...
No, but with a rock-solid culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't have to potentially build the culture and worry about the draft. You've got the academy you can pluck from, things like that. I think maybe he would get a better result.
Well, he's got the pieces at Sydney to play his nice strategic role.
Yeah.
So, that wouldn't be such a bad fit.
Thanks, mate. I'm glad you like that. All right.
I did.
Next question from me. Clarko's move of Sicily into the forward arc the last 2 weeks is his worst on-field decision as a coach in years.
If not ever, yeah. It's not terrible, terrible decision. James Sicily is one of the better backmen in the comp when he's up and going.
Yep.
Why move him?
Don't know.
Nah, Nathan Buckley's not going to throw Darcy Moore forward this weekend, is he?
Absolutely not.
No, he's not. And Jeremy McGovern's not going to win a Coleman medal one day, is he? No, he's not.
Well,
but
to relate it back to my own club again, how stupid did we look when we kept flicking Hooker and Hurley forward?
Terrible. Geelong with Harry Taylor.
Yeah, we put him back and they're like potentially all-Australian or have all-Australian qualities down back.
Yeah.
But, can you go forward and kick some goals as well? Why?
Yeah. They can't all be Aaron Norton, so that's all right.
Turning up.
I'm joking. I'm really not. He's a gun. I love him. All right. This is... we sort of spoke about this off air and earlier today, but Alistair Clarkson Godfather deal to the Blues, a possibility or a pipe dream?
Absolute pipe dream.
Yeah.
So I think I said that too. I saw him on 360 essentially squash it. I don't know if you saw the report about what Tom Scully said to some reporter today.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so he said, the reporter said...
Is he moving to his 4th club next year? Nah, sorry.
For $1 million.
The change, you filthy animal.
The reporter said to him, did Clarko address it all? And he goes, actually, he did in the team meeting. And he goes, what did he say? He goes, nothing much. It was just a little subtle sort of glimpse. And he goes, what did he say? He goes, just to let you all know, there's no way I'm going to go coach at Carlton.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what, essentially, I think I might have paraphrased, but that's the
Sounds like they might have had a bit of a laugh about it.
Yeah, Clarko seemed really adamant to me. I don't know why he'd move, and I think I said that to you when we chatted yesterday. If he said to Hawthorn, this is just about money for me, why wouldn't they give him the same money?
Exactly right.
They're not broke.
He's a Hawthorn legend.
Yeah.
4 flags in 15 years.
And they would have to think about it from a business perspective, the exodus of members, if Hawthorn are like, we'll give you 1.7. If they cost them the best coach to have ever coached at that club, in my opinion, over $300,000 a year, you might as well sack the entire executive because that would be a debacle.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll end up with Brad Scott.
All right, my next one. It came out of the lips of Matty Lloyd. The Saints were VFL standard on the weekend.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Matthew Lloyd's hit the nail on the head.
In contrast to some of the great losses that we have seen, though, I mean, the dark days of Melbourne, the currently dark days of Carlton, even Brisbane at times, is that really VFL standard? I mean, the loss was not... It wasn't like it was 100
That individual
plus.
game was pretty poor. They're not on those levels. They're not nowhere near the debacle those 3 clubs just mentioned were. Like they're not.
The skill level was atrocious.
It's atrocious, yeah. But there's not going to be. Yeah, they're certainly got way too much to improve on. Alrighty, my last one, and I saved the best to last. So our CEO of the Australian Football League came out last week and gave a pretty forced, boring typical press conference and a lazy apology to the fans that we've been so desperately asking for. Gill and McLaughlin has just flown out to Hawaii mid-season. The bye rounds have just finished, and we're just getting into the second half of the season. And the CEO of the AFL has decided to take a mid-season vacation to Hawaii. Does that show his complete incompetence to lead from the front?
I mean, the answer somewhere in there is yes. Does it show complete incompetence? It shows a complete lack of understanding about how his decisions, personally off-field and in the boardroom, influence his image amongst the wider football public. He is so out of touch. We only have to go back to the mustard jacket, the polo. Yeah. He's terribly out of touch. I know that's a little bit of a cheap jibe, but to be honest, this guy has no real feel for what the average football supporter wants. Yeah. It's pretty evident from the consistent rule changes. I could rattle on. You know how much of a bugbear I've got. I think he's a terrible leader of the organisation, and it's mostly because he's out of touch. Yeah. I don't know what world he's living in, but it's not ours. I know a lot of different footy fans come from all walks of life, but no one.
From the elitists to the nuffies.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, the majority of people want to go to the game, do their thing, drink their fill, have a feed, go with their family, go with their mates, go home. They don't want to have to be interpreting rule changes, worrying about zones, going, how come people are holding up signs on the boundary instead of the guy running out and sending the message? Why are my ticket prices going up? Why are there extra officers patrolling? This is all... This is not what we want. Yeah. We didn't ask for it either. No one was asking for this stuff. It's a crock of shit. So, I'm furious with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite frankly, how the season's gone and the negative media attention, fan attention, everything going in Gillen's direction, how can he possibly relax over there, knowing that he's just going to come back to this again? And he knows it's being spoken about right now, about his decision to go on holiday. I just don't see how it's at all a benefit to him anyway. I just think he'll be pretty stressed over there.
Man, if you're the CEO of the AFL and I say to you, all right, every year from the end of January until the end of October, you're at work every single day, maybe 6 days a week, maybe 12 hours a day. That's your job. You're essentially going to keep teachers' hours. Yeah. Like, in terms of the amount of holiday you get. Yeah. You can have November and December off and most of January. Yeah. You don't get bonus little, mid-season jaunts. Yeah. Do your job.
Yeah, it just felt like he's fled the country.
It does. Yeah. It really does. Yeah. All right. I got one last question for you, mate. Does Geelong's post-bye 0-8 record get balanced out by their week after post-bye record of 7-0?
Yes, it does. It's a lovely little balance there. But I must say, I am a little bit concerned about the bye record, as we've got the bye round before the finals. They were looking pretty good in second position, and they played a home qualifying final against Richmond after a bye and got absolutely trounced.
They don't like the week off?
They do not like a week off. They like continuity. So, yeah, I mean, it balances nicely now. But Jimmy Bartell had mentioned this. He has concerns. He has concerns, and he half wonders what Chris Scott gets up to on his week off. Does he flee the country? Who knows? But yeah, it's a concern.
It might be something simple as they spend more time doing vision and less time on the track.
Possibly, yeah.
Or they go too hard on the track and not enough vision. I don't know. Yeah, that's an internal machination, but it's an amazing start. Yeah, yeah. But we spoke about this yesterday. Their run home is very, very, very breezy. It's cherry ripe.
They'll be ready to go come finals time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that segment. That's an absolute ripper, Bob. I loved it. I think we should do that a little bit more often. Anyway, it's that time of the week where Bobby throws me a little doozy and I panic and can't answer it for 20 seconds. But hey, it's time for Bobby's Compare the Pair.
Compare the pair.
All right, the doosra that I'm flipping out of the back of the hand towards Jackie Boy this week.
Oy.
It's not two players, it's two lists. Now, I gave you a little bit of a heads up that you might have to do this because analysing a list on the spot is very difficult. Now, the two lists I'm going to give you
Still better than sauce.
And you only cost me a couple of Cascade lights. All right.
Cascade lights is also what Brodie Grundy or Sir Patrick Cripps might win if they keep the MVP Fatside votes as well.
There won't be any left. Yeah. So, The St Kilda list versus the North Melbourne list. I'm going to frame it into two parts. The first one, which should be pretty easy for you to answer, judging by your raised, very accentuated bushy eyebrows, was who finishes higher on the ladder this year?
North Melbourne.
Okay, you can elaborate on that in a second. The next question is, which list would you rather have 5 years from now?
5 years from now?
Yeah, I think 5 years. So you've got to think about the players they would lose.
Yep.
And then what they've got coming through,
Oh,
where
boy.
they'll sit in terms of drafts and who their coaches might be.
Currently now I'd take North Melbourne's list.
Right.
But in 5 years' time, there's no Cunnington or Higgins or Tarrant or Ben Brown, possibly.
Zeeble?
Zeeble, he'll be gone.
Question mark?
5 years, question mark. That's tough. And in 5 years, I mean, that's Canterbury's contract, but yeah. God,
Goldstein will be
he's
gone?
on a week to week at the minute. But Goldstein, yeah.
So who's gone for the Saints in 5 years' time? 5 years is a long time, but we're
It
just
is.
talking retirees. You can't predict everything.
Yeah, so retirees for St Kilda would be...
Nathan Brown.
Yeah, Nathan Brown.
Darren Geary.
Jaron Geary. Jake Carlisle, perhaps. Well, maybe. Yeah.
Don't know.
Continuity in his body. Who
Hannah's
knows? Hannah's
gone. Jack Stephen
Jack
might be
Stephen,
out of the game.
yeah, might be out of the game. He's got his battles at the moment.
Josh Bruce.
Josh Bruce, yeah. Tim Membry, how old's Tim Membry?
No,
He's a
Tim
bit younger,
Membry's got
isn't he?
footy left in
Yeah,
him,
he's
yeah.
got footy left in him. And then obviously Billings and Gresham will still be playing. But then obviously North will have Taron Thomas and Cam Zerha and the likes of those boys. They're absolute elite gun off the half-back. Trent Dumont, as we touch on all the time. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking. Towed us up. But anyway, yeah, it's a tough one. They're very on par with each other. They're very average lists.
So North don't have a great recruiting record, which
No.
we touched on, a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
I think it was now.
Yeah.
It was maybe a few months ago. However, that I think they're fully conscious of that now.
Yeah.
And they'll do a better effort at holding onto their draft picks, maybe even trying to trade up for 2 first-rounders.
Yeah.
Which would be a smart move, if you ask me. St Kilda definitely have to hold on to their draft picks and recruit.
Yeah.
Because they've got gaps. But yeah, as you go across each line, try and factor in who you think the coaches might be.
Might be, yeah. So I think if it's not next... I think John Longmire will coach North Melbourne. It's just a matter of is it next season or is it the end of his next Sydney contract?
Agreed.
I think he will end up at Arden Street. He is a favourite son. He's a dual premiership player there. And he's held in very high regard at the North Melbourne Footy Club. And he is a great coach.
And do you think, I mean, this is my personal opinion, I'm not trying to reflect it on you, do you think he'll be up against a Saints team led by Brett Ratton?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think he's every chance.
Yeah.
I think that's why they got him there,
Yeah.
to be quite honest.
Well, that
with you.
leads me, yeah, I've got a couple of doozers for you
All right.
after this as well. So, look, my answer is North Melbourne. Yeah, and I'm going off the presumption and the possibility of landing Horse at some point. Because I feel he could even bring a couple of Sydney players across.
Yeah, he would have that potential, you'd think. They might not be the best.
Yeah. They might sign Bud on a 10-year deal for $20 million. And he'll be playing at 50 years old.
You could see potentially them
I'm joking.
finding a way to bring Reed over, maybe.
Yeah.
Guys like that, like
Blakey.
B-string.
Blakey, his dad was also a North Melbourne man. He might join Horse.
Well,
in the coach's box.
fascinating, wouldn't it?
Fascinating.
So you said that you thought North would finish higher on the ladder this year.
Yes.
They are down a game against the Saints at the moment.
Yeah.
I haven't really checked their run home, but if you just project forward just to this week, the Saints have got the Tigers, the Roos have got the Pies.
Yeah.
You'd expect they're both L's. They're going to have to find a way to get 2 more wins than what St Kilda do for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They've got a much higher percentage.
And obviously Higgins is out, so that hurts North a bit. But I think North Melbourne's best at the moment is better than Saints. That's what I'm going off.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, yeah, North Melbourne for me. Yeah. So that's my answer for you, mate.
Love it.
Yeah. Good compare the pair.
Thanks,
mate. I love that. No, something a little different touch. Anyway, I've got 2 statements, and I'm putting a bottle of whiskey of your choice within a reasonable price range, because after all, I am the broke mamba. Anyway, now, little bit of left field, but I have heard murmurs. Brett Ratton in 2020, you touched on this before, I believe will be St Kilda's coach. I've heard of a particular mate of mine who knows people within the Saints realm, like high up members that talk with people from the board and all those presidents' lunches and things. And the players love Brett Ratton. absolutely love him, and they've bought into his influence this season. And I think that Alan Richardson's very much on borrowed time now. It's become too much. It's been too public.
Simon Lethlean. His comments have pretty much
stamped his papers. Yeah, absolutely. So that's my first prediction, and that's a bottle of whiskey for you if I'm wrong. So Brett Ratton will be St Kilda's head coach next season. Michael Voss will get the Carlton job.
Big call, Jackie boy.
Big call. Yeah. Michael Voss deserves a second chance. He had a terrible list at Brisbane, and he was way too early into the coaching.
Huge
ranks.
player exodus happened around that time
Absolutely
as well. Huge.
Yes. Yeah. And Michael Voss was a favourite son, blinded by that favourite son little era where Buckley got hired, Hurd was hired. Different circumstances, but they were the three biggest names of that generation.
I did hear Voss actually say that he got the first job based on his name.
Yes.
His first gig, and he hopes to get the second one based on his talent.
Yes.
I like that statement.
I think he would have learnt a lot under Ken Hinkley, and I think he is really ready now as a career coach with experience already at the top job, but plenty of years as an assistant. I think he's ready to take on a next challenge, and I think the next challenge will be Carlton. Because they're not going to land Alistair Clarkson, John Longmire, and if they go after Brad Scott, whatever. But yeah, Michael Voss for mine. That's my tip.
I like it, mate.
My tip for North Melbourne. No idea.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's a tough one, yeah. It's either horse or they'll keep Reece Shaw. That's what I think.
Yeah, they're a tricky club to work with. They're like a 6-iron, like, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
It's, very difficult to see where they're trying to go, how you rebrand their style of footy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what someone's going to have to do is rebrand some of those players.
Yeah. Well, I've heard Brett Ratton thrown in the mix, but he's been thrown in the mix for the Carlton job too, to go back to Carlton. Now, I don't think that'll happen. That they've done their dash. That was a terrible sacking.
Can I ask you a question? Do
Please.
you think James Hurd is going to get an interview for any of those jobs?
I'd hope so.
So you think he should?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think he will though?
Yes.
It'll be a bold club.
Yeah.
To take that publicity and roll with it.
Yeah.
Well, good on them.
It won't
if
be
they
Carlton because I think they're pretty tired of publicity.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I think North Melbourne might approach him.
Well, I like some of those tips from you, Jackie boy, which leads me every week. This is what I wait for. This is what I save the shekels for. It's time for Jack's Multi.
All right, I've got a nice, fat, juicy one for you this week, Bob.
The return of the multi.
Return of the multi.
So much juice.
I'm back, baby.
Is it succulent?
It's succulent.
A succulent Chinese meal.
Very succulent. My first leg. Geelong, 1-39, paying $2 at the Cattery. I think they're certainties. I know they're playing the Crows, who are 5th, but they won't lose 2 in a row, and they won't lose at home. That's paying $2.
Nice.
I have West Coast pumping Hawthorn at the MCG, 40 plus, paying $4.
$4.
$4. Don't mind that. My third leg, I've got Port Adelaide, 40 plus against my mob, paying $3.30 at home. Doggies don't really like Adelaide Oval.
It's a short price to sell your soul.
Yeah, sorry guys. My fourth leg, Fremantle, 40 plus, Carlton at Optus Stadium. I think they'll respond after a really disappointing week in Melbourne. I know Carlton are coming off the bye, and who knows, Teague, the Messiah, see what he can churn up. I think Fremantle will demoralise them at home, and that's paying $3. What does that get you? $79.20.
That's juice.
Now, this might sound like a bit of a contradiction, but gamble responsibly.
All right, love it. That's great stuff from you, Jackie boy. All right, so let's head into the match preview. Before that, we're just going to check out tips. 4 each last week, so I'm still only leading you by 1, and it's going to be a big back half of the year to decide who takes that out. Surely, the winner of that's a 10-pack.
Yeah.
That's 10 drinks, so that might help equal out your frothy tab.
Yeah.
All
Jack
right.
Daniels for me, I'm sure, but looking at my bank account, maybe Woodstock for you, mate. Hey, can I just give myself a little boost?
I'm sure you will.
Little pump up. It's not that special, but I had a double header little bet last week, and I did exact margins because I sent my tips through to you and I gave you proper points.
That's
Tipped
true.
the Sydney Swans by 22 points. They won by 19. I thought I was going to get it, man. It was pretty close. So I was pretty wrapped with myself. Within 3 points, I'm pretty happy with that.
Mate, I sent you a screenshot of my bet from Thursday night, the Essendon West Coast game.
Yeah.
I totally knew they'd kick all those points.
22 behinds. Bobby called it.
Got the total points line by 3 points. Got the margin by 2 points. Could not believe it. Cashed in. It was great. All right.
Some sheets for the Bob man.
Match preview. Oh, it all went through my bladder. So, game one. We got Dons and the Giants again on Thursday. The Bombers. It's at Marvel Stadium. Who have you got to win this one and why, Jacko?
I tipped Essendon last week. And I felt a bit foolish for it. So I'm going to tip the Giants this week.
Did you tip Essendon last week?
I did, yeah.
Oh, that's minus a tip. You're actually 2 behind me.
Giants for mine. They'll win by not much. 2 or 3 goals. I think we might have a tight affair on Friday night.
Jeez, you're being
Thursday
generous to my mob. Look, the Giants are way too organised. And we are sloppy. Our disposals are sloppy. Our forward line looks a little bit insipid. Our defence is rock solid.
Yeah.
It's very good. So, I mean, I know West Coast kicked a lot of points. A lot of those were set shots from about 40 out, though, to start the game. That's why they missed so many. So I think our solid defence will hold up a little bit. I have the Giants to win by 5 goals. Then we're moving on to the Cats and the Crows at GMHBA Stadium. Who do you have for this one, Jackie?
I have Geelong winning by about 15 to 20 points at the Cattery. I think Adelaide will turn up and give a fair old crack of the whip, but Geelong too good at home. And
nice.
Good teams don't lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, nice call. That 7-0 stat that I talked about earlier,
Yep.
I think that genuinely means something.
Yep.
They'll reply. They'll have a couple of inclusions. They might miss Gary Rowan, although, there's every chance that he could get up because I think the concussion wasn't that severe. I've got the Cats making a statement against another top 8 team. I've got them coming away with a win by 6 goals. Next game of the round, it's the Hawks and the Eagles. It's at the G on Saturday. Who do you like in this one?
I have no idea what Hawthorn will bring every week, but what I've seen lately, it's rubbish. West Coast will win by about 6 to 8 goals on the G. This is one of their probably few little dress rehearsals for the finals on the G, and they're going to want to maximise that opportunity, and I think they'll get the job done quite convincingly.
Yeah, I agree. I got it written down that they'll punish them. I think it'll be even worse if he starts Sicily in the forward arc again.
Yeah.
Nick Nat back, it's questionable, but they've said he is going to play. He'll have some impact.
Oh, God, I hope it goes well.
Tough day out for McAvoy.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought you were going to suit up against
Vardy.
Oh, no, you've got Nick Nat who's going to leap on your head all day.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. I've got the Eagles by 9 goals. Next game is the Swans versus the Suns. It's up at the SCG. Who do you like?
Swans are looking a lot better lately, and I think they'll towel up the Gold Coast Suns, and they'll win by about 50 points.
Oh, that's a big margin.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, no Buddy, but...
You'll still kick 10.
Look, they should bring in probably Tom McCartan or someone like that.
Yep.
But they do have Foster's Blakey.
Oh, Foster's Blakey. Can you please elaborate on that? Can you define what you mean there?
They only come in long necks.
The lizard!
The Lizard King. He got the NAB Rising Star nomination for the week, and deservedly so.
Oh, you are too much, Bob. Yeah, congrats to our Blakey. That's well deserved.
I think he'll carry on. I think he'll have a pretty good game, and the Swans will keep carrying on. I have them to win by only 22 points, though. The next game, it's the Pies versus the Roos. It's Saturday at Marvel. Who do you like, and why?
God, I don't really know.
It's tough after seeing the Pies struggle.
Yeah.
And North, having the week off, so...
Yeah. I won't be rolling with the punches like Joel Garner from North Melbourne. But, gee, that was a bad joke. Sorry.
I love how you dob yourself in straight away.
Yeah, I dobbed myself in. You didn't laugh, so that's evident. Collingwood. But, God, I wasn't convinced last week. Collingwood by 2 or 3 goals.
Look, I've got the Pies to win this one. They'll hate that they were threatened.
Yeah.
From, no offence, a team as far down as yours.
The 2016 Premiers, yeah.
They've been threatened too many times this year. So, look, I think
you said 5-6 weeks ago how gettable they are, and it's come to fruition.
They're gettable every week. They've got a problem with the way that they actually structure up coming out of the middle, and they haven't corrected it. I don't even know if they're trying, to be honest. That sounds really harsh. Like, I think I know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I've been watching it it's nearly been 2 months now. I've said to you, I can see the Pies getting beaten. They keep finding a way to win. I think they win this one by
Well,
30
it's- yeah.
points for what it's worth.
Imagine if Treloar was really good by foot. Imagine. I mean, we should just lock him in a steel cage with Ben Simmons and have them both practice with each other on their efficiency.
All right, the next game. It is your mob. They're up against Port. It's over at Adelaide Oval. Who do you like and why?
Oh, mate. You know exactly who I like, and unfortunately, it's not my boys. Port Adelaide will give us a good old ramming at home, I think. Yeah, 40 plus for mine.
Yeah, look, I can't see Port making any changes, to be honest.
Yeah.
Kenny swung the axe. He's going to look like a genius, so I reckon he keeps it rolling, as is. That said, your boys put up such a good effort, I don't think you make any changes.
Yep.
Either, to be fair.
But the travel will hurt, and Port are in nice form.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And Tim English might get towed up again against Lieutenant Lysette.
Exactly, and Dixon won't do any worse for having a second game in a row and being at home. So, yeah, I've got Port to win by 9 goals. Next game is the Saints versus the Tigers at Marvel. What do you make of this one?
I was going to throw one of those as a leg in my multi, but I couldn't decide. Now, does St Kilda respond after such a terrible performance? And Richmond don't like Marvel Stadium, and they're just coming off a bye. But Cochin and maybe Edwards are back. So I'm going to have to tip Richmond. But not with a great deal of confidence. I think St Kilda could respond. But look, if my prediction for North Melbourne to finish above them, I'd love Richmond to win.
Yeah, look, I've got the Saints to try
Yeah.
really hard. The Tigers, Koch, Titch Edwards, they'll have Soldo back as a ruckman. He'll replace Chol. Asprey should be back too. So, yeah, I have them to win by 5 goals. The next game of the round, it's the Lions versus the D's at the Gabba. I like the sound of this game. I wouldn't mind watching it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Who do you have to win this one?
Brisbane. Yeah. Quite confidently. 30 points. Yeah. I think they'll win by 5 goals. Melbourne were impressive last week. It was nice to see them, as you said, not being useless pricks. But the Gabatoir, Brisbane continually want to prove their worth and prove that this isn't a fluke. Yeah, that they can really make noise late in the season. And these are games they just must win.
I think the last time you said that was maybe round 9, and I think they won by a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
against the Crows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a tough outing for them at home. Some of the games they've had, they've caught teams on the rise and things like that. I actually am tipping the D's this week.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think they'll keep the train rolling a little bit. I think Gawn will be able to handle the 2 ruckmen. I think Melbourne will start to find some influence. I thought Viney played a better game.
Yeah.
Things like that. So there's a few things working for
Do you
them.
think Oliver might just towel up the likes of McCluggage or those likes in the midfield? Do you think they'll get the better of them on the day?
Yeah, it'll be really hard to win clearances against that Melbourne team.
Yeah.
Max Gawn. And so I have the D's winning. It's not by much, honestly, 5 points. I think it'll be super tight.
Yeah.
Last game of the round, it's Freo versus the Blues over at Optus Stadium on Sunday. Who do you have to win this one and why, Jacko?
Fremantle will win by just over 40 points. I think they'll respond. They'll hate that they a little one that got away. I find. Obviously they let it every change except the end, as you mentioned before. And I just think, I just think they'll towel up the Blues. The Blues are the Blues. They're just, they're no good.
Well, look, Freo are going to be without Walters, Hogan. They're also still without Rory Lobb.
No, Walters will play. He got off.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah. What's his full name, Bob? Sonny.
Scottish Kiss Walters.
Yeah.
Look, they're going to have a few changes, Freo. They're going to bring in a couple of guys who have been tearing it up in the waffle. I'm tipping them to beat the Blues, but only by 18 points. I think the Blues will turn up and try and play some good footy on the weekend.
Be a bit competitive.
So that's it for the round 15 predictions, but why don't you just run us through the ladder quickly, Jackie boy?
Yes, now Geelong's first loss in a long time has closed the 2-game lead gap on the top of the ladder to 1 game. They are a game clear on top. Collingwood second. GWS third. West Coast fourth. There's your top 4. Now, 5th, Adelaide Crows, looking very nice. Brisbane Lions at 6th. Port Adelaide are purring now. They're at 7. And the Fremantle Dockers are at 8th. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Port Adelaide, Fremantle and Richmond all on 28 points. Richmond's percentage is terrible. Horrible compared to theirs. However, At 10th spot, it's your boys, Essendon. They're a game behind now, behind those guys. St Kilda 11th, which is quite flattering, I find. But
Agreed.
Yeah. Hawthorn 12th, right where they belong at the moment. North Melbourne 13th. Sydney starting to string a few W's together. They're up to 14th. I don't know if they'll get that much higher, but yeah, that's around where they're at. My boys 15th. That's where we are at the moment.
Near enough. You deserve maybe 1 or 2 spots higher.
Yeah, I believe we're better than Hawthorn on our day.
And North.
And
St Kilda.
Yeah, and St Kilda. So anywhere between the 11th and 15th, but really it doesn't matter. 15th's great if we get pick 4. 16th Melbourne, 17th the Gold Coast Suns, and rock bottom Carlton. And that is the ladder update post round 14 going into round 15, Bob. Anyway, I thought it's been a pretty exciting show. We've had a bit of a laugh. I'm back. I am flu-free. I feel great and ready to tackle the second half of the season, and look forward to our cowardly boss returning from Hawaii. The Wisdom of Waffle, Bob, your creation. I'm going to give you all the plaudits you deserve. That was great. I had a great time.
Thanks, mate. We'll replay it next week. I hope you all enjoyed what we delivered for you this week, though. As always, make sure you scroll down, subscribe, hit the bell so you get all the latest content as it drops. Don't forget to go over to Instagram, the Fatside Podcast, and check out some of Jackie Boy's work on the social stuff.
And just to click over to pretty important global game of sport tonight, it's Australia versus England in the ICC World Cup. Who's tip?
I'm going to tip the Aussies, mate.
Okay, I'm going to tip England.
Of course you would.
Skip, you a hater.
All right, that wraps it up from us. You can hear the fat lady. She's coming. Thanks again, Jackie Boy.
Awesome, Bobby. Have a good week, mate.
See you, mate.
And that is it.